Ferran, esperamos 3 minutos más y empezamos.
Sin problema.
Ah, está bien, ok.
Make a commercial answer. You know, Spanish wines worldwide. In this regard, I am very glad we were able to taste a wide range of wines coming from Paris, Rioja, precisely quality. In Spain, one of the producers, typically Spain, the largest country in the world, area of vineyards, and third in the world when it comes to export. The wine is outstanding beverage. It's part of culture, it's part of our history, of the identity. Sometimes go and hope that the journey goes any kind of presence of kind of wine. Working as well as years as somelier I was saying that's in Spain. Whichever worldwide and present. So the rights for them to run into the town, also the Estado, and first, I was going to like as well. And I also for me, ako imate pitanja kasnije, slobodno kažite. Ferán?
Sí. Muy bien. Buenos días. Morning. How are you? Well, so good to be sharing this tasting and presentation with you all. Of course, I would love to be there with you, but not possible this time. Hopefully, we can meet in the near future. I'm now speaking from Barcelona. I have all the wines been served already here at home. The bottles are at backwards. But first of all, I would like to do an introduction of Spain to show you new things, the hot stuff now happening in our country, in Spain, to give you some information, like an overview about the country, and then after 15 minutes presentation of this overview, we can go through the tasting if you want. Okay. So please, it's a bit difficult to be doing this tasting through the screen, but if you have any comments, any questions at any points, don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to stop to talk. Let's try not to make it just a master class or whatever. So feel totally open and free to ask as many questions as you want through the tasting. Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing the screen. Just here you are. Is that all right? Cool.
Okay.
Excelente. So I can see you now. Okay, so first of all, I would like to do a short introduction about what's going on in Spain and all this kind of new information that we've got. Spain, it's a country. It's a quite a huge wine country. Number one in quantity of hectares of vineyard planted. And now it's a very, very exciting moment to be in the wine business, because there are a lot of newcomers, a lot of new producers, regions boosting grape varieties that are being rediscovered. So lots of things going on now in our country. For instance, we are living a transformation through sonification. You have here in the presentation Priorat, Rioja, and Bierzo, and these are new categories that just been created 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and you will see more and more into the market all this kind of classification. So Rioja, Priorat, Bierzo, they are looking towards sonification. I mean that villages will be performed on the labels very, very soon. So as you see in Priorat, we'll have the base Priorat, and then the Vide Vila, and then Vide Paracha. Okay, so based villages, and then best and top vineyards. More or less like Burgundy, and I'm sure you know about Burgundy. So more or less kind of following this Burgundian idea. Same in Rioja. From Rioja, Zona, Pueblo, and then Viñedos Singulares, that will be the most specific vineyards. Same in Bierzo, regional Vinos de Villa, which are the village wines, and then Vinos de Paraje and top vineyards. So I can see probably in the next 2-3 years in Spain, top wine producers betting on these new classifications and positioning the best wines of each winery on those classifications. So be aware of that. And of course, be aware that Spain is a great country for local grape varieties. And all the wines we're tasting today, all of them, they are made of local grape varieties. Let me show you how does it work. We have here in the screen this is a chart. On your left is the aroma intensity, and down is body. So these are the top white grapes in Spain. We do have Verdejo, Trexadura, Moscatel, and Albariño as flavorful, very intense, fruity, floral grape varieties on the top of the chart, and downwards we have Garnacha, Macabeo, Charello, which are kind of more neutral, but lots of intensity on the palate. So white grape varieties in Spain, we can divide it in the aromatic flavorful, delicate, and light, and the ones that are fuller and richer, such as Garnacha and Charelo and Macabeo. But all of them, they are local and just been found in Spain. Okay, that's the white grape varieties and the impact in the wine style, and same as the red. Here we do have kind of powerful style of grapes such as Monastrell or Bobal or Cariñena, and more delicate ones such as Mencía, Sumoll, Listán Negro, Caíño. Okay, and look, if you see Tempranillo here, it's 5 on intensity of aromas and 5 on body. I just place it here because, you know, with Tempranillo, you never know, because it's such really depending on the style of the winemaking. We'll be tasting many Tempranillos today, and you will see that the style it's crazily different depending on the winemaking. Okay, so these are the super well-known red grapes varieties. However, kind of more rare, intriguing, and unknown grapes, they are being rediscovered in Spain, and that's also really a trend in our country. Here you have. Remember that there are roughly 6,000 different grape varieties worldwide, but 40 of them concentrate 80% of the production. Of course, in Spain, Garnacha, Tempranillo, Garnacha, Bobal, and Monastrell are the main grapes that are being produced in Spain. But look to those names: Tinto Velasco, Giró, Brunyal, Moravia, Picapoll Negra, Ullet de Perdiu, which is the wine I'm showing, the bottle I'm showing in the screen, or Albillo, Cariñena Blanca, Monstruosa, Gual, Bijariego. These are very local and very rare grapes, most of them less than 100 hectares, but they are now quite prestigious, and many wine producers, they're kind of trying to recover those grapes. So in one side, I see Spain moving towards zonification, villages, vineyards, new classifications, and on the other side, Tempranillo, Garnacha, Monastrell, and those main grapes are today sharing the market with these other really local, rare, and grapes that are being rediscovered. So it's super interesting now to be part of the wine scene in Spain, because every tasting you keep discovering new things, new grapes, and new producers betting on those grape varieties. And another trend here in our country are these kind of clay jars. We call them tinajas, and they are being produced in Spain. But the quite interesting thing is that, like concrete tanks and tinajas, from the inner part of the tinaja is not epoxy. It's nothing recovering the inner part of the tinaja. So there is a direct exchange with the air, with the oxygen, and direct contact with the clay. That's super interesting because it gives kind of very open wines, very complex on the aromatics. All this micro oxygenation helps to just mellow the tannin sensation. So you will see, I think, also in Spain, kind of boosting, increasing of the wines being produced in these clay jars. Of course, Spain, it's a country that we love oak, both American and French oak, but it seems that now the trend is moving to less oak and using this kind of clay tinajas, clay jars, right? Perfecto. So this is what's to come. but also just to present the country. We do have here Europe. So in yellow, you see cool areas of Europe. In orange, you see the temperate zone, and green, blue, and red are kind of Mediterranean climate areas. Okay, so if you think in Spain, climate is quite similar to Italy, to France, to all this Mediterranean area. But see, you see here, if you take a look to the screen, you will discover that Spain, our peninsula, is extremely mountainous. There are lots of mountains in Spain, and that's why it was quite an isolated area, and it was so difficult to spread in the past. So look to those to this map. Spain is the second most, I would say, the second higher country in altitude if we compare all the whole continent, the whole Europe. So the second in mountains, the second in altitude. That is quite good for wine and for wine cultivation, because as I'm sure you know, I'm sure I'm not discovering nothing to you, but the higher altitude, kind of the lower the temperature. So although Spain, of course, it's a warm, hot country, this kind of altitude helps balancing the wines, helps increasing acidity, helps just to not to overcook our grapes. I will show it in here. Okay, so all these names you see here are names of mountains. So Pyrenees, the Cantabrian Range, the Central System, the Iberian Systems, los Montes de Toledo, el Sistema Bético. Okay, all the names you see now in the screen, they are mountains. So even in southern Spain, even in Alicante or Granada, we do find high altitude vineyards everywhere. We'll be tasting, for instance, Ribera del Duero. Ribera del Duero, it's 900 meters above the sea level. Ribera del Duero is high in altitude. That's super interesting to keep temperatures low and contrast day-night. We'll be talking about that later. So the day-night temperature contrast in Spain, and I will show you a graphic on that. It's quite extended, and all these kind of mountains, they bring us huge diversity. So Granada, Málaga, Gredos, and Ribera del Duero, Calatayud, Navarra, all those regions, they are quite high in altitude, and that's super interesting for good quality grapes. Okay, and also the rivers. We do have many rivers that help to temperate the climate. Most of the rivers, they fall to the Atlantic coast. For instance, the best known for you, of course, is El Duero, which is the main river reaching Portugal. But there is one very important river falling to the Mediterranean called Ebro, where Rioja is located. So the Ebro River, it's also quite important. So all in all, I think we can kind of distinguish 6 different wine zones. All in all, we have 6 different wine zones. To the north, we do have the green Spain with all those light, refreshing wines with crisp acidity, really delicate and aromatic, where Galicia it's a main producer. So that's the green Spain. But also we have the Mediterranean, and with all the monastrells and Bobal, kind of fuller, richer, more intense wines. In central Spain, all this continentality, it permits the wine to reach a superb tannin structure and superb tannin textures. You will be experiencing some of these central Spain wines, Ribera del Duero. You will see the tannins they've got. Down to the Mediterranean and Atlantic, we of course find Jerez as the main. We are not tasting Jerez today, but Jerez is also a superb wine to rediscover and to enjoy from Spain. And of course the Ebro region, quite Mediterranean also in style, because all the climate condition flows thanks to the river. So you will be tasting also some Riojas that they are basically in this Ebro area. Okay, so that's more or less our country. But of course, the best thing is to start tasting. We have already set the order of the wines, so we can start serving the wines if you want. I can see the glass is not being poured yet, but you can start serving the wine. Okay, and of course, as a welcoming glass, here you are, cava. Okay, so cava Maset, that's our welcoming glass, and really new hot new news from cava, because cava is now really suffering a huge change, and all the standards of quality and all the standards of quality classification are being improved and are today still more focused on quality. So cava is now taking and going to be a premium product, and that's the Consejo Regulador doing a great job. Great job for cava. So as you may know, cava it's a second fermentation in bottle wine, like champagne. So the production is exactly the same method, comparing champagne and cava. But in 2020, the Consejo Regulador of the appellation cava has kind of renewed the quality and renew a bit the concept of cava. So previously to 2020, you could have cava almost in very different regions within Spain. So cava is not just in Catalonia. We find cava in many different regions. But from 2020, and I'm showing now the map, the name of the region may appear in the labels. So Viñedos de Almendralejo, Comtats de Barcelona, Valle del Ebro, these are zones that you will probably be seeing in the near future, just as concept of zonification in the cava region. So that's truly something quite new. You see here into the map, and also all the cavas, the minimum aging of the cavas to be in contact with the yeast, it's 9 months, but we have now Reserva, which are 18, Gran Reserva, which are 30 months, and Paraje Calificado, which is the top of the pyramid, that is 36 months. Okay, so from Reserva 18 months to Paraje Calificado, all those quality in there, Reserva, Gran Reserva, Guarda Superior, Paraje Calificado, they are quite autholitic. So you can really find pastry aromas, toast, complexity, because they have been enriched by the yeasts. Okay, and maybe the Cavas de Guarda, which are 9 months, these are kind of more refreshing, easygoing, light, easy to drink wines. But Consejo Regulador and many of the wines producers today in Cava, they are betting on higher standards. They are betting on longer aging periods, and that's super interesting too. And I'm sure in the next few years, Cava will go up in quality thanks to all this new classification. Okay, so I see you now the cava is being served. So that's the cava we are tasting. Okay, it's cava Macet, and it's a reserva. So as I mentioned, reserva means at least 15 months aging on its lees. Okay, how's that? Let me check your faces. That might be, maybe it's the best cava you had today, no? Isn't it? That is supposed to be a joke, eh?
Yeah. I think it's fine.
Okay, it's the best cava you had today or not?
Yes.
No, you didn't have breakfast, cava for breakfast? No, it's a joke. Sorry, guys. No. Okay. So as you see here, lovely intensity. Just a touch of pastry, but is based on green fruits, on apples, touch of stone fruit. Quite delicate in style. This is a very classic. This is a very classic style of cava made of Xarel·lo, Macabeo, and Parellada, okay, which are the traditional grape varieties. Xarel·lo always a bit bitter, Parellada kind of softer and more fruit, and Macabeo always bringing a beautiful acidity. So that's the classical coupage of cava, and for me it's a beautiful, well-made wine. Super good value here, lovely intensity, and if you see the texture, I mean the bubbles are super well integrated, so it's a lovely product, lovely cava. Maybe not the most complex, but they are not looking for complexity here, just something to drink by the glass, well made and lovely style. Okay, so this is brut. Okay, we here in Spain, we like our cava to be always brut nature, so no sugar addiction, really kind of dry and powerful style. But I think brut is also a great product, kind of more rounded, softer, really tasty. See, so in our traditions, we love it to be very dry, but it's also for the export markets, this kind of brut style, it's also very welcome. Right? You like it? Raise your hands if you like it, please. Nice, cool. Very good. Okay. So next wine is it's Alvarinho. Okay, Paco Lola. Alvarinho, it's a local grape we really love in green Spain, in Galicia. So really cold climate here, very humid. It's not quite easy to cultivate it because humidity brings a lot of pressure of diseases. But you see here vineyards that are just trained very high, just to try to have a nice use of the air, the ventilation. That's quite interesting. So what is Alvarinho? So Alvarinho, it's for me a top grape variety, showing always kind of lime, lemon, green apples, but also very peachy and floral. That's the glass number 2. And this one, see, and this one here, it's really on the peach flowery style. You see here all the peach nectarines, lychees. These are wine produced by using the stainless steel with a touch of least contact here. Very well made, very clean, pure, and superb intensity. Okay, so look what's going on now in terms of winemaking in Spain, and look what it's now. It's a bit technical, but if you see the chart, okay. There are three main ways of producing Albarino. Okay, thiolico, fermentativo, and terpenic. So thiolic, fermentativo, and terpenic. Okay, so if you harvest the Albarino kind of green or on the green side, you will take, or you will have later on after the fermentation, all these grapefruit aromas. Okay, but if you're really ripe and you go on the other side of the ripening, the Albarino, you will get all the stone fruit and lychees and peaches. So the style of Albarino, it's really extremely influenced today, but the picking time. So the picking time is very important. So if you pick early, you get lime, lemon, grapefruit, flowers. If you pick late, you get peaches, you get lychees, you get more terpenic style. So in here, the wine we are tasting, this is quite late peak. You see, really late peak. So really peachy, moderate acidity, kind of refreshing, but not very acidic, nice vivacity, but not green. So Paco y Lola, the bottle I will show you, the bottle we are having, this. Paco Lola, these producers really go on the late ripening, which is interesting to bring up this kind of peaches and this kind of very expressive way. You find both the styles. You find green, citrus, grapefruit, and you find all the one we are tasting, like peaches, rich style, flowers, very opulent style of wine, right? Lovely. I like it because sometimes Albarino might be quite acidic, and I think they have done a great job here, just kind of balancing the acidity, very kind of soft and smooth product. Quite easy drinking, lots of funny and lots of intensity. Right? Perfecto. So, no questions from here? No? We can start doing. We can start for the reds now. Okay, so first red is Ontañón. It's quite good to show you a classical Rioja style. Okay, so the Ontañón in here, this is really a classical style. What do I mean about classical? Well, so you see the color, it's more open, the kind of garnet, pale intensity, and on the aromatics is extremely influenced by American oak, really influenced by American oak. So when I mean classic style, and that's a very traditional way of producing Rioja, I mean the fruit is under the oak. So classical Rioja style is not about fruit. It's about complexity and oak. Let me show you that. This is classical Rioja. So really lots of complexity, forest floor, nutmeg, tobacco, cigar box. That's quite the way the aromas that classical Rioja it's bringing. Okay, so complexity, oak on the top, fruit underneath, very open fruit style, very complex and quite pale. Okay, quite pale. So, question for you. See, question for you. Okay, if you take glass number 3 and glass number 4. Okay, number 3 is Ontañón and number 4 is Vivanco. Show you here. Okay, that's a interesting detail. So take Ontañón and take Vivanco. Okay. So glass number 3 and glass number 4. Okay. They are both wines from Rioja, right? They are both oak aged wines, right? See, of course, Ontañón it's a bit kind of older, okay. But look, taste and compare and contrast both of them. So Vivanco is all about fruit. It's all about red fruits, raspberry, very ripe, in a style, lovely fruit with little oak. And Ontañón, it's all about tertiary flavors. Yeah? So open nose, kind of more garnet color, more aged, complex. Okay? So very two different styles. First glass we are tasting Ontañón is classical. Second glass is more modern style, right? Okay. So now think about the aging process. If you want to produce a classical Rioja style, when you are doing the aging in oak, you will do at least 2 rackings per year. Are you following? Okay, more or less 2 rackings per year. If you want to keep the fruit, like the Vivanco, to keep the fruit and to have less influence of the oak, you probably will not do any racking through the aging. Okay? So in Rioja, if we want to have this open style, this complex style on the nose, many rackings during the aging process, because more rackings means more oxygen into the wine, more developed aromas. Okay, that's why. And if you are looking for fruit, then you age the wine. Okay, because crianza, for instance, is 1 year, but you don't touch it, so no rackings at all. That's the main difference between Clásico, sí, and Moderno. Clásico, more rackings. Moderno, keeping the fruit, no playing with the oxygen, no playing with those those rackings, so kind of protecting the fruit. And then on the palate, you go for the Ontañón. On the palate, the Ontañón, you can feel tannins coming from the oak. I show you. Here you are. Okay. Oops. Here. Okay. So the Ontañón has this charge of tannins coming from the oak. This is more or less how does it work in terms of oak and oak quality. So if you burn the barrel, if you do a light burning, you will have less aromas but more tannins. If you do a very hard strong burning of the barrel, you will have lots of aromas, but the tannin level will be less. So it works the other way around. Okay. So I'm That's quite a nice information. So clásicos, the clásicos like the Ontañón, they normally like the barrels quite burned, so muy fuerte o fuerte. Whereas the modern, they try to burn the barrels a bit less, right? So that's also a main difference between these two wines. So if you see Ontañón, just medium body, very tertiary tannins. The texture of the tannins are just fine-grained, really coming from the oak. Nice complexity, guys. This is classical Spain. This is classical Rioja, and we do love this style. We just love it. And you may argue that probably it's too much oak, or probably the too much vanilla flavors or coconut flavors, but we love it this way. Absolutely love for this style. Very, very Spanish. Okay, super complex oak, vanilla, nutmeg, licorice on the palate, medium body, delicate fine-grained tannins. Welcome. This is classical Spain. But if you take the Vivanco, this is all about fresh fruit. Of course, it has some oak, but the oak is completely integrated into the wine, and the wine is vibrant. It's fresh. It's rich, sweet fruit coming through the palate. The fruit, it's really on the top of this wine, and just oak accompanies, but quite on the delicate side, right? So same region, Mediterranean climate, based on Tempranillo. Ontañón is a crianza, is a reserva, it's a classic style, and Vivanco. Okay, Vivanco is more the modern style, right? So, young, crianza, reserva, or gran reserva, these are classifications that more or less you can follow to get to know the style, because normally reserva and gran reserva, they are kind of produced in the classic way. Crianza, depending on the producer, but they are kind of more modern. Okay. But two styles today coexist in Rioja: modern and classical. And this is a great tasting just to compare and contrast, so you get to know the differences between those two, right? And then, if you want, you can have the next glass, which is also Vivanco. Vivanco it's a top winery that I really like. They've got a great wine museum full of very ancient tools, ancient objects, and ancient glasses. It's really a place you want to be, a place you want to visit. And this family, Vivanco, they are obsessed with quality. So it's a super producer. Let me show you here. It's a super producer, and you can really follow those guys. And if you find yourself in Spain, please do really visit this winery, because it's really worth it. Okay, so let's have the Reserva now. Vivanco Reserva 2014. Here you go. You see here, kind of more open, more tertiary flavors. Oak is present, yeah. Less oaky maybe than the Ontañón, because Ontañón, they were using really a lot of American oak, and here is more kind of French style of oak. Okay, so this is clásico también, so estilo clásico, but less influence of the oak. lovely texture, you see. The tannins are super smooth, less fruit charge than the crianza, because this is a wine more on the complex side, but the fine grain tannins it has, they are for me beautiful. So really nice quality of fruit, really well managed aging process. Quite also medium body. So if you think in Rioja, it's always Tempranillo with some Graciano, with some Garnacha or some Mazuelo, but it's because of the climate conditions and because of the aging process is always more moderate in style, medium body if we compare it with Ribera del Duero. So for me, this is a lovely wine. The three Riojas we've been through, they are very representative of the style. Ontañón, extremely classic, full charge of American oak. Vivanco Crianza, vibrant and fruity and really refreshing Rioja style. And this Reserva, it's Clásico, pero it's kind of in between of the Ontañón and Crianza is this Reserva style. Okay, so let me ask you, which of those three Riojas is your favorite? Please raise your hand for the ones that you prefer than Ontañón. So 2-3 people loving this classical style. Okay. Crianza. On the fruit, no, not many people. And Reserva. Okay, Reserva. Yeah, okay. So kind of the it seems that Reserva it's a favorite of the majority. Maybe for this style, kind of mixing the complexity, the oak, a bit less fruit charge. So it's quite lovely. And you see the bottle. The bottle is just beautiful. It's a copy of a very ancient bottle, and I just really love it. It's great, very great. Perfecto, right? See? Okay. So now we change and we move towards Ribera del Duero. Ribera del Duero, as you see here, it's in central Spain. Okay, Ribera del Duero, it's a central part of Spain. And the idea that you need to have a clear idea of Ribera del Duero is the continentality. Okay, really continental. Ribera del Duero, they are always the last region to be picked. So the grapes, they really need time to well ripen. So they are always the last to pick. For instance, in Penedès region, maybe in August we start picking, or Rioja September. But Ribera del Duero, they pick in October. So it's really late ripening because of this contrast of temperature. You see here the chart. See, look, okay. From the coldest month to the hottest month. The coldest month is January. The hottest is July. There are 5 to 20. There are almost 16 degrees of difference. This is huge. This is like Argentina, Mendoza. It's really a huge degree of continentality, and this is superb for the well ripening of the grapes. Why? Okay, because during the day, the grape, the ripening process, they do all this metabolic ripening. Okay, tuk. But then suddenly in the night, the temperature drops, and the plant just stops working. Okay, so it really works during the day, producing sugars, producing aromas during this ripening process, gaining texture. But during the night, it kind of stops and relaxes, and that is very good for the tannin texture and the tannin structure, because the tannin, they need time to ripe, they need time to mellow. I mean, the grape tannins, they need time. If you go like really quick, and if it's super hot and without this kind of degrees of temperature drop, then you really get a sugary grape. But sometimes the tannins and the skins, they might be green. Understand? So if you really go quick, and if it's really warm and hot, you might have lots of sugar, but the skins, where is all this tannin quality, might be a bit green, because just it's been like rushing ripening process. Not in Ribera del Duero. Ribera del Duero, it's super great for this smooth ripening process, and this is, you can notice when you taste it. What is it? Take the cepa 21. Take it. Okay. Okay, now first sip of the cepa 21, and now take, please, una cepa de Balduero. I'm just having fun with my, this is a Riedel for Tempranillo glass. Lovely glass, Riedel Tempranillo. You see how rich is it? Super rich. But take a look to the tannin quality. I mean, it's super well ripened. The tannin quality is there. The palate is smooth, rich, roundy, juicy. The tannins, these tannins, they are not dry. The Rioja, they were a bit more kind of fine-grained, clay style of tannins, but in Ribera del Duero, no. The Ribera del Duero, it's just rich, juicy, soft, opulent. It's a great texture. These are meaty wines. These are full. These are rich, but not overcharged. I mean, I love the tannins. It's so special. You always do blind tasting the wines. You always can't tell which of them is a Ribera del Duero, because of this great tannin concentration, but without drying. The tannins in Ribera del Duero, they are never dry. They are always getting super well ripened, super rich and rounded. And you have here two beautiful wines, 100% Tempranillo. El Cepa 21, which is a bit youngish. You see more fruit charge here, a bit red fruits, well ripened, but not on the black fruit side, more on the red fruit side. Oak, very well kept, under control. Beautiful wine. Alcohol is always a bit high here, but because there is enough fruit charge to hold the tannins and to hold the alcohol, I think the balance is great. Okay. And then you have here una cepa de Balduero. Balduero this winery has a great potential. They are always when I do different or several blind tastings in the region, they are always in the top, and it's extremely prestigious producer. So let me show you here. Okay, this is more or less, you see the map on the top of the image. Okay, painted in green, this is what we call the Golden Mile, where you find Vega Sicilia, where you find Pingus, Pago de Carrovejas, all those really prestigious wineries. But there is another super interesting area within the Duero, Ribera Duero region, which is painted in golden. So you see it's kind of triangle over there on the top. And these are the villages of La Horra, Roa, and Guix. These are very, very prestigious villages of Ribera Duero with really old Tempranillo clones that brings or that gives this beautiful, intense, and rich fruit. So that's really the region where Balduero is placed, and top region also for quality. So these are the two main, most important regions: the Golden Mile, where Vega Sicilia is, and also this triangle on the top with super old vines. So all in all, when we think in Ribera del Duero Tempranillo, these two first wines we have tasted, these are always kind of more compared to the Rioja. Ribera del Duero, it's always more plummy, blackberries, cloves, leather, all these cacao flavors, chocolate flavors coming through, and on the palate profile, so higher alcohol, really lots of intensity, full body, but the texture of the tannins is just great. So it's rounded, full, rich, and really lovely texture. So that's a wine to be tasted with a knife and fork, with beef, with meat, with mushrooms, lots of different pairing options, and really lovely wines. Okay, so Cepa 21 and Balduero, these two wines, they represent kind of the modern side of Ribera del Duero. And these are modern style. And now we can compare between Proto Reserva and Protos Gran Reserva. Okay. Look, Reserva and Gran Reserva, they are classifications that just mark how many times the wine has been spent in oak and in bottle before going to the market. However, most of the wineries, when they do Reserva and Gran Reserva, and although it's not compulsory to do so, they always use the best fruit, the best quality fruit for the Reservas and Gran Reservas. Because if you don't start Reserva and Reserva with a great quality fruit, then just the wines they don't keep well. So all the wineries, when you see Reserva and Gran Reserva in a bottle of Ribera del Duero, they normally use the best fruit to produce those styles. And you have here the Proto Reserva and Gran Reserva. This is classic Ribera. More oak, charge, a bit more not drying, but firm tannins, concentration, starting to show tertiary flavors, all this kind of mushroomy style, forest floor, the nutmeg, the vanilla coming through. So the Protos brand or Proto Reserva and Gran Reserva, they are more classic. But please look the texture they've got. The texture is just great. I mean, those tannins, they are super mellow. They are, for me, beautiful. Of course, it's Ribera del Duero, and Ribera del Duero, it's always kind of powerful and intense and oaky, and you can notice the oak and you can notice the oak tannins, but just the texture for me, it's beautiful. I don't know if you are agree on that, but it's just a beautiful, classy texture. And Protos, it's also a super well-renowned producer doing great products. So the two first Ribera del Duero, Cepa 21 and Balduero, these are modern styles, rich, juicy, soft tannins, rounded, powerful, and super quality. Protos is more kind of classical, oak charge, a bit firm tannins, but still showing what Ribera del Duero it's all about. It's about concentration and super well ripened fruit. Beautiful wines. Are you happy with those wines? The Gran Reserva is just so complex, man. So beautifully complex, and still keeping the acidity. It's kind of magic always with Ribera del Duero, because all this kind of contrast of temperatures, it helps to retain acidity. So you get super rich, super well-ripened tannins, but the acidity is always there. And I just love the wines coming from Ribera del Duero. Super classic wine region, quite special, right? Now, please, I want to see your opinion. This flight, Cepa 21 and Balduero. Raise your hand. Raise your hands. The ones you prefer the Cepa 21. No, really? Okay. Raise your hands. The ones you prefer Balduero. Okay, clear, Victor. See, Balduero is really a special winery. I think they have potential to become. Okay. Let me put it this way, but don't take me very serious, eh? But I think they have potential to become the next Vega Sicilia, if you allow me, because please don't tweet that sentence. It's just for you. No Twitter, no Instagrams for this sentence, but these guys, they are doing a great job. The Balduero family, they are doing a great job. Lovely, rich, modern, beautiful fruit. You can notice that the fruit is great here. Okay, and here, raise your hand the ones you prefer the Proto Reserva. And raise your hands the ones you prefer the Gran Reserva. You're classical people here. Oh, come on. Good to know.
You hear me? Ferran?
Sí.
You're so similar to Spaniards.
Say again?
You're so similar. Serbians are similar to Spaniards. Look what?
No, it's not. I can hear you because it's. Okay, try without the microphone. Try without the microphone. Ahora sí. Now, yeah. No se escucha. Con el micrófono, with the microphone, I can hear you. It's just.
Nos parecemos mucho los españoles serbios.
Vale. Sí, ahora sí. Now I can hear you. Now, without the microphone, I hear you very well. That's good. Yeah. Of course, your country is also very lots of mountains, so not similar climate, so not far. We're not far. But I'm very surprised because I expect you to like the Reserva better, because Gran Reserva really it's oaky and really special tasting profile. So I'm happy to see that that you like also the Gran Reserva, of course. Okay. And finally, this is the pyramid of quality classification of the wines. In Spain, we do also have a lot of vinos de la tierra. Vinos de la tierra. Show you. Here. Okay. So you see here the map. These are the vinos de la tierra. These are regions where you can produce wines, but the grape varieties you are using or the wine techniques you are using, they are kind of more free. So of course, Spain is it's a traditional country, and it's very strong in terms of tradition. So Rioja needs to be Tempranillo with Graciano, with Garnacha, with Mazuelo, of course. Rías Baixas, mainly Albariño, of course. Okay. Navarra, mainly Garnacha, of course. But also in Spain, if you are a kind of a innovative producer, and if you don't want to follow the traditions or the regionality of each region, you can also use Vino de la Tierra as a quality credential. And Vino de la Tierra, it allows the producer to use different grapes to produce wine in a different manner. And there is a lot of innovation being done by Vinos de la Tierra. Okay, so the last wine here, it's from a very traditional family. You may know the wine Pesquera. Okay, Pesquera. So this is from Familia Fernández Rivera. It's the same family that produces Pesquera. Okay, and this wine is made in Roa. And remember, Roa is one of those villages I show you here, painted in golden. Roa is a top village within Ribera del Duero, but here they don't use the appellation, they just use the Vino de la Tierra, okay, de Castilla y León, because this is kind of the modern style of wines they are producing. So they keep Ribera del Duero for the traditional wines, and they use Vino de la Tierra for the modern and innovative wines. Wow, and this lovely fruit. This is all about rich, sweet fruit, red fruits, really tasty, really smooth. Lots of chocolate coming through, but still, again, the same acidity we found in Protos, the same beautiful acidity we find in Cepa Ventuino or Val Duero. So Ribera del Duero, this is Vino de la Tierra, but the Ribera del Duero, it's always great, because it gives this really refreshing acidity. It's a lovely wine. Of course, intensity is there, powerfulness, full richness body, but fruit, it's for me lovely in this wine. So lots of fruit charge, very soft, juicy tannins, rounded, lots of chocolate on the palate, lovely wine. Mm-hmm. Wow. How you like that? Good? Not too much? Es muy bueno este vino también. Muy bueno. Okay. Now I think it's time. It's time to have some food. No, ready? Let's do some food and wine pairing. Are you serving the jamón ibérico? Low. Nice. I see. Okay. Let me just because we are now serving some jamón ibérico is some cheese, and I just want to go really quick to share some information about this kind of charcuterie and cheeses being produced in Spain. Spain is a country of cured meats. We really like this kind of charcuterie, and we are great producers of this kind of cold meats. So just to show you, this is the whole country full of different kind of cold meats and appellations used for charcuterie and cold meats and cured meats. Okay, so this is we have many different styles of cold meats being produced in Spain. So I just select some of my favorites. Botillo del Bierzo, that is cured of cuttings of the pig with a lot of paprika. This is lovely. Also cecina de león, which is a cured meat, but like jamón, but not with porks and pigs, just with cow and horses and deers, but also cecina, it's quite an interesting product. Also morcilla de Burgos, this is with using pig's blood, a lovely and very tasty kind of sausage, kind of black pudding with pepper, paprika, and lots of spices. And chorizo for sure, and I just choose the chorizo riojano. This is made of pork and really spiced with lots of paprika. Then that gives this kind of smoke and kind of very tasty profile of the cured meat. Okay, so these are just to let you know that in Spain we have many different styles of cold meats and this kind of products. But what we are tasting now is jamón, and especially jamón ibérico. So we have two kinds of porks in Spain. We have the white porks, which are produced in Teruel and in southern Andalusia. But we have also a specific breed of porks called cerdo ibérico. Okay, cerdo ibérico, which are the most famous porks with this black leg, very famous. I will show you here. Okay, these are Iberian cerdo iberico porks, just roaming quietly and eating acorns. Acorns. If the top quality jamón ibérico is produced by this kind of porks that they have been fed with acorns and that have been exercising in the Montanera. Okay, so this is the top quality jamón you can find. Okay, so more or less it works like this. The Iberian porks, they have different pedigree, and pedigree matters. And the top one is el cerdo negro, the one you are seeing on the screen. This is 100% Iberian breed. So the parents, they were both Iberian, so 100% Iberian. And this is also for the top quality jamón. But also we have different kind of breeds and different kind of feedings, and depending on the quality you are trying to find. We have 50% pedigree, 75% pedigree. We have porks that they have been feed just with acorns, but there are some other that they have been feed with half acorns and half other sources of feeding. So that's very important for the quality. So trying to understand what kind of pork is the one you are having. This is important for us and for the quality. Of course, there is not many. There's not many complications when it comes to the production. We take just the legs, the front leg and the back leg. There's a salting process where we cover all the leg with salt, and then the salt helps to the dehydration and conservation of the leg. Then it's starting to be cured, and the humidity is very important to be controlled. Then there is this kind of sweating time where the leg just gets drier, and it integrates all this salt, and it integrates all the flavors. That takes the sweating of the Iberian ham takes 35 to 45 days. Then still drying and sweating for 6 to 9 months. Okay, that's drying and sweating time. And finally, the maturation process between 24 and 36 months. I should say I have tasted like Gran Reserva jamones with 5-6 years, but I find them to be extremely dry. That's my personal opinion. So I really like the jamones when they have like 24 months to 36. Then of course you have these top ranges of Gran Reserva with 5, 6, or 7 years. But as I said, sometimes they are beautiful, they are super tasty, but sometimes they are just too dry on under my point of view. Okay, so that's the jamón, the Spanish most loved product. Very difficult to cut. You need to kind of have an expertise in how you cut it. And I should say I'm extremely bad on cutting jamón. I don't have this kind of art. Okay, that should be more or less the slices, the quality, the size of the slices for the top consumption. But as I said, it takes time and practice, and really it's not easy always to find a good ham cutter, un cortador de jamón. Otherwise, you can also cut it in the machine, and it's also nice and tasty. But for a top consumption, the best is hand cut. Okay, so this is the jamón here, and also we are bringing a bit of cheese. And Spain, it's a land of cheese. We have like 150 different varieties of cheeses, and we also have 30 different appellations, denominaciones de origen about cheese, and we produce cheese from cows, from sheep, and from goats. So everything is produced in Spain, more or less. And how does it work? So the northern part part of Spain, you can find lots of cheeses produced of cow. So Tetilla, the Galician, the Cabrales, well, Cabrales is blend, the Idiazabal, all these kind of cheeses from the north of Spain, they are produced of cow. Goat is the cheeses that they are produced in the Mediterranean. The goat cheeses, they are more kind of in Catalonia, Valencia, Levante, all this kind of style. And the one you are having, el manchego, this is from central Spain. And manchego, it's more kind of cheap cheeses. So all this kind of central Spain, you can find lots of cheap cheese. Okay, so cow. To the north, go to the Mediterranean, and central Spain is cheap. And you say cheap cheeses. Well, this is a bit of the nutritional, but you need to know that manchego and cheap cheese. The cheap is the animal that gives you the least milk yields. So it really, the yields of the milk, they are very, very low. For instance, from one sheep, you get 1 liter per day. From a goat, you get 2-3 liters per day. And from a cow, you can get like 20 or more liters per day. So the yields of the milk of the cheap cheese you are having, these are very, very, very short. And nutritionally, it's a beautiful product because it has a bit of everything. Very rich on protein milk, very rich on essential nutrients, on fat, on vitamins, so super. Okay? And it's very common in central of Spain to see this kind of chips roaming, walking, kind of following a kind of nomadism, changing places within the whole country. We say that they change depending if it's winter or if it's summer, trying to find the best or the food they need. So that is called pastoreo. Pastoreo is very common, and I show you here. These are all the routes that the chips can do within Spain. They keep moving and moving, going up and down depending on if it's winter or summer. That's super traditional in our country. Okay. So manchego, what is all about manchego? Pues is of course I'm sure you know how a cheese is made, how all these enzymes they work, and the fermenting process it's carried out. But what is important in manchego, as I'm showing, is this kind of covering of the cheese during the maturation. Okay. See, this kind of mold being used that gives this shape and size. It's called platas. The mold, it's called platas, and it's super traditional. In the past, they were produced using a straw, as you see in the picture. Today, the mold is, or the modern factories, they replicate the straw, but it's more kind of plastic, and that helps to just concentrate the cheese, to extract all the water, and that gives this kind of pressure. It gives that manchego. It's one of the most tasty cheeses you can find, and really concentrated. And we find it in three categories, depending on the ripening we give them. Semi-curado, it's 1 to 3 months of ripening. Okay, curado, it's 6 to 9 months of ripening, and then viejo, which is this very dry, salty, intense, concentrated cheese that it's at least 9 months, right? Okay, so that's the manchego and the jamón for you to enjoy. We didn't want to give you the food when tasting, because I think it's better to focus on the wines and talk. Sometimes with food, the palate profile and the tastiness of the wines it changes. So that's why we leave it just in a relaxed way now that we are finishing the presentation. Right? Perfecto. So this is more or less the presentation. I think we can now, if you want, stop sharing the screen so I get to see your faces better. You are very welcome to do any questions if you want. Please don't use the microphone because I'm having problems to hear you. Sorry, but you are welcome to open a conversation if you need. Question at the back.
Well,
Puede ser una pregunta inconveniente para alguien
Sí.
del mundo del vino, pero ¿nos podría comentar cuál sería su región vinícola favorita de España?
Oh, that's a good question. And thanks to my job at chancesrobinson.com, I get to travel the whole country. So I'm almost visiting all the regions every year. And for me, I think I find really exciting Galicia now, because as you know, the land in Galicia it's really shared with many different and small viticulturists and vine growers, but most of or lots of vine growers now, they are producing their own wine. So in Galicia you find lots of small new upcoming producers using Trexadura, using Albariño, using Godello for the whites, or Caíño, or Brancellao for the reds, Mencía also. Okay, so Galicia is super interesting. Also Bierzo. Bierzo, it's already a reality. With all this kind of delicate mencías. This is super interesting also. Navarra, with the high altitude garnachas, they are soft and delicate and super lean garnachas in Navarra. This is also quite interesting one region. And I recently discovered, or there is a movement to rethink Bobal as a grape variety. It's not easy, Bobal, because it's always difficult to ripen. It's really an uneven way of ripening. So in the same bunch, you can find really well-ripened grapes, some green grapes. So it's difficult, but if you use a sorting table and then you do a bit of selection, Bobal is able to produce really top wines. So Galicia, Bierzo, Navarra, Bobal, from southern Spain, Valencia, these are also regions to watch.
En la primera parte de la sesión has mencionado una de las nuevas variedades no olvidadas, Moravia. ¿Conoce algo sobre la variedad local serbia Morava? ¿Tiene algo?
No conozco. I don't know the Morava grape variety, but the names are quite familiar. And Moravia agria. It's a grape variety that gives, although it's planted in La Mancha, which is hot and warm conditions, Moravia it always brings high acidity and intense fruit charge. But it's a bit kind of rustic grape, and a bit bitter, very high in acid, very well charged of fruit. And I don't know if it's similar to the style of your Moravia. No idea, but it's an upcoming grape variety that is being recovered in Spain, and I have already tasted like 5 or 6 wines produced by Moravia, Moravia agria, and they are quite authentic and quite different because they are super charged of acidity and rusticity.
Yes.
Questions? No? Bueno, Ferran.
Sí.
Bueno, pues muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias por. Bueno, ha sido un verdadero lujo. Tenemos audience. Very much here, and that is just
So just to finish, it's been a pleasure. Do not hesitate to contact me with questions. I'm happy to always help. I'm very easy to reach through social media, and I will share if you want the presentation. So if there is someone interested in the presentation, I'm happy to share it. So no, feel free also to ask for the presentation. Okay, thank you. It's been a great pleasure, and I really hope that we can meet soon. I really hope to visit your country to taste some of your wines that I think that you are doing, or the wine industry. It's now going up, and really wondering to visit you in a near future, right? Thank you very much for sharing these wines, this moment. I think the wines they were drinking very good, very authentic, a good selection of classic and Rioja, Ribera, and Spanish wines, and I really hope you have enjoyed. Thanks for your attention.
You're welcome to visit us.
Soon, I hope really soon.
I hope so. Yeah. Gracias.
Gracias, familia. Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Ferran.